All right, guys, we've made it. We're here at Orlando, and we have Universal Studios and Magic Kingdom, Disney, all that stuff about 10 minutes away from me, but we're not here for that. We are here for the Pokemon Orlando TCG Regionals. I'm hoping that this time I can hopefully make it into day 2. I just want to get a day 2 finish. This is going to be my 3rd regionals, and I haven't made a day 2 yet. So that's the goal for today. And if we can go further than that and make top 32, top 16, that would be awesome. But like I said, I would just be happy with a day 2 finish. That is my goal for today. Well, actually for tomorrow. Today's Friday, so the regional doesn't start until tomorrow. But today it's Friday, so there are going to be some side events, so I'm going to be going to those. But I did get here a day early. And funny story, when I was going to get my car rental, they offered me, like, a guy that I was dealing with, he was super cool, and I noticed he had like a Naruto cup, so I commented on it. We talked about anime for a little bit, and then as he was giving me the keys, he just went ahead and told me, go ahead, man, enjoy that Challenger. And I had signed up for the cheapest car, mind you, so I was like, awesome, I'll take the Challenger. But as I went into the car, I have a USB-C charger, and honestly, that's more important to me than driving a luxury car or like a nice car. So I ended up having to, even though he was super nice and gave me the pretty much, I don't know, it's like the top tier car or something, I don't know, but I was like, dude, I kind of need a car that has a USB-C charger, so is there any way I could get another car? And they ended up giving me another car, which I believe is still like above the price range that I paid for, so that's awesome. Which, by the way, I quickly wanted to mention that coming to a Pokemon TCG regional doesn't have to be expensive. I know some people go all out, get a hotel, the car rental, and everything, but for me, I've literally only spent about $70 on this trip so far, and that's me getting here, getting my rental, getting my flight. So that's everything that it costs to transport me here. And the way I was able to do that was through my credit card. So I mean, you do kind of have to have a premium credit card. I have the Chase Sapphire Reserves, and I was able to use credits. They give you a $300 credit for travel, so I used that for my flight. And then I used my points that I've accumulated through that card to book my car. So the car rental literally cost me nothing. I just used my points for that. But yeah, it's worth it. Definitely, I would, if you're traveling around and going to these TCG regionals, I would definitely recommend getting a premium credit card. It doesn't have to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but just something that could get you points and help out with making travel cheaper. Yeah, just a quick financial tip for me. But yeah, I just looked at the schedule. The venue doesn't open up until 12 p.m. So it's about 8 a.m. right now. I just got out of Planet Fitness, took a shower, which, by the way, these showers in this particular Planet Fitness have been the best so far. They literally give you a little area for you to walk into before you get into the shower, where you can set your stuff down and not worry too much about people stealing your stuff, because that's the main thing that I'm worried about. I don't mind walking out naked after I take a shower. The issue is just me always being worried about putting my phone outside and like people grabbing it or something, because once somebody has robbed you before, you're always kind of paranoid that it's going to happen again. So I'm glad that this location, I don't know, feels a little bit more secure in terms of me putting my stuff right outside the shower, which is also covered. So yeah, big points to this Planet Fitness. Love it so far. But yeah, also no hotel for me. When I come to these regionals, I just sleep in the car, park outside of Planet Fitness, and then I shower there in the morning. So that's what I just did. I think I'm just gonna go grab some breakfast. Probably gonna go to Waffle House since we have some time. And then I do have to pick up a friend back home. He's coming, and he's getting here at around 12. So I'm gonna go pick him up, and then we're gonna head over to the Pokemon TCG Regional. So yeah, can't wait to show you guys what's on the prize wall and all that stuff. So I'll see you guys once I get there. All right, so as always, the line is super huge. We had to wait about maybe 40 minutes before we could get in and get our badge and everything. But one cool thing about this venue here in Orlando is they had a good variety of selection here for food. They had a bunch of food stands, and later you guys will see me munch out on some of the best food that I've had at one of these events. But we finally made it inside, and the venue, as always, every time I get inside one of these for the first time, I'm just surprised by how big they are. But here was my swag that I picked up. I actually, not a big fan of this Pokemon, but the playmat actually looks really cool. I love the look of the beam. And then we also got a promo. This time we got the Explorer's Guidance. This was just when this set came out, and that card was very popular in ancient box decks. So it makes sense that we got that as our promo this time around. We sat down for our first challenge and they gave us a sticker. I immediately put it on my deck box, and I found out later that that was meant to be the prize wall tickets. But take a look at this deck box here.
Like, these are the matchups I'm okay with taking.
I love this gold plate.
Oh yeah, it's so cool.
Nice heavyweight.
Yeah, you can see like the back too. It also has like the symbols of like the goddesses, and you just open it up.
I'm definitely a person who likes playing like rogue decks that are kind of
She looks awesome.
decks, and then I'll pick a
Oh,
deck
then it
to
comes
take
with
it
dividers
into.
as well.
Well, I was a field control player for a long time. But then you just start getting
All right, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
So that deck box was by Mana Moon, and I've already actually pre-ordered one of their deck boxes, so I will be getting one in the future. It's a Gengar deck box, really cool. But here are some things that I picked up at the tables, the vendors, and they had this Umbreon V for $110, which was a crazy deal because this card goes for $200. So when I saw that, immediately picked it up. And here are some other stuff that they had at the vendors table. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's to put in some of your bulk. They also had some chopsticks here. Pretty pricey, to be honest, so I didn't pick up any of those. They had some plushies. These are the Soda Pop plushies, which I recently found out are some of my favorite plushies, so definitely going to pick up more of those. They had a Tinka-Tink, which I love Tinka-Ton, so maybe getting that in the future. I still don't have a Tinka-Tink in my collection, though. But yeah, I'm slowly starting to get into plushies. Every time I go to these events, I always end up picking up a few plushies, like this Larvitar. Look at that thing right there. If this guy didn't pick up the last Larvitar, would have definitely picked that up. Some other stuff that they have at the vendors tables are some old vintage video games. You can see the prices for those. It gets pretty ridiculous. I wish I had saved all my games from when I was younger. And then, of course, always have a bunch of sleeves. I didn't realize these sleeves were going for $25. I would have picked more up when I went to NAIC, which I just came back from, and I am currently editing the video for that one, so stay tuned for that. This vendor was pretty cool. It's the first time that I've seen them print all their cards on a sheet of paper, and they just kind of have that on display, so whatever you want, you kind of have to ask them to go find it. But we finally made our way to the prize wall, and this prize wall was honestly very impressive. They had a lot of stuff. I honestly think this was the best prize wall out of all the events that I've been to. Even NAIC, that one was kind of underwhelming, but again, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, a bunch of cool stuff here. They had a bunch of socks. They had a bunch of little sippy cups for Aizen. Can't remember if I ended up getting any of those. They had a bunch of these, what are these called? These like Squishmallows, I think. Didn't get any of those. Not a big fan of Squishmallows. But yeah, the big guys are over there at the back. I didn't get any of those either because I was traveling, so I couldn't take that in the airplane. But they also had a bunch of Yokohama stuff. And the cool thing about this event, which unfortunately I was not able to get any of those play mats, which I honestly wanted all of those, but eventually they started selling these instead of just having to pay the prize wall points. But like I said, unfortunately they announced that, and by the time they announced it, it was too late because everybody, as soon as they announced it, somebody picked those up right away. But I did end up eyeing some plushies. You can see there they had the Gen 2 starters, so I definitely had my eye on those. But I did have to be a little bit selective because, again, I was traveling, and the main one that I was wanting to get was Cyndaquil because that is my favorite starter. So if I don't make day 2 and don't make it on stream, which this is where they play when you get on stream, my goal was definitely to take home that Cyndaquil. But it was the end of the day now, so we're heading out, get some dinner, and then we're gonna come back tomorrow morning for the main event. All right, guys, so I finally made it to the venue. I forgot to record yesterday at the end of the day, but it was a lot of fun. Yesterday was just testing day. I went to a challenge. Didn't do bad. I was kind of in the middle. I went 3-3-1, so 1-3, tied 1, and lost 3. But my losses were mainly just due to me bricking, which I feel like in the best 2 out of 3, I might be able to do better. So we'll see. I ended up just playing the same list that I played yesterday. I was gonna make some changes, but I just ultimately decided, you know what? Not gonna make the same mistake as before. I always made last minute changes. This time, just going in with what I've been playing for the past 2 weeks, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this morning, I was supposed to meet up with my friends so that we could take an Uber here, but the Planet Fitness here isn't open 24/7. They opened at 7 a.m. So I had to wait until 7 a.m., get ready, and then by that point it was better for me to just come directly here instead of going to them and then taking an Uber here. It would have made them late, and now I'm late. I got here, it's 8:15, and the event starts at 8:30. So they're already here. They got here before me because of course they were able to wake up earlier, take a shower and all that. I had to wait till 7. We still made it. I made it on time, so wish me luck, guys. I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna be heading into the venue now. The beginning of day one is always crazy with all these people ready to play some Pokemon, getting ready for a super long day because you are going to be playing 9 rounds of Pokemon. So always got to remember to bring some snacks. So this was my breakfast as I was waiting for my first opponent. The first round is always exciting because you get a good feel of how your deck is going to perform. All right, guys. So round 1 just finished, and gladly it went well. I won my first round, but I did play against a newer competitor. She was playing Chien-Pao, which is pretty hard to pilot. So as soon as she told me that she was new and she was piloting Chien-Pao, I figured I might be doing okay because that's kind of a harder deck to pilot. And I did notice a lot of misplays on her part, which we did talk about after the round, so that was kind of fun. But I had a really good time playing against her. The first round was kind of bad for both of us. We both bricked. We didn't start attacking until like turn 20. But eventually I did get in the first attack, and then after that, everything started to go pretty smoothly. The second game, I was actually able to pop off pretty quickly, and she never had a response. Took out her Friggies every chance that I could, so she was never able to get back Excalibur. And then that was pretty much game. Which, by the way, I haven't told you guys what I'm playing. I am playing the Armarouge Arceus deck. I'll put a picture of the screen here of my deck profile so you guys can take a look at it. My deck, I kind of did put in some text for Charizard because I knew Charizard was going to be pretty popular. So I added an Iron Leaves with 1 Grass Energy. And then I also have the Spirit Tomb, which I actually use that for Charizard, but lately Charizards haven't been playing the Rotom because of the new Tords list. So we'll see if I get any value out of it. I think it will still be good against bird control. So yeah, that was kind of my 2 main techs that I put into the deck. It worked pretty decently during testing, so we'll see. Hopefully I get to use them, especially when I'm playing against Charizard. But all right, guys, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break before the next round, and I'll give you guys an update after the next round. All right, guys, so round 2 finished, and I am so mad right now because my first game, I probably would have won it. By the way, I was playing against Charizard, one of my scariest matchups. I thought I had a good matchup against it, but it's still scary when I'm playing against it, and this kind of just confirmed it, that it's still a scary deck to play against. But would have had the first game, but unfortunately when I Starbirthed, I meant to grab a Professor's Research and a Switch because my Arceus was on the bench and I needed to switch it into the active to be able to knock out. They only had a lone Charmander in the active, and I needed to switch out in order to attack it. But they only had a Manaphy on the bench and then the Radiant Zard in the active. So if I was able to pop off that turn, I probably would have been able to take that game. But anyways, I got the Switch, and then I thought I got the Professor's Research. But when I started shuffling and then I put the deck down and I looked at my hands, well, there was no research. Somehow I had gotten an energy card instead of the research, and I don't know how it happened, but I was so mad that game. And then I was so mad at myself the whole game that I still tried my best. There was just no way I could win because the research, I only had 2 cards in hand, and then after I didn't grab the research, he didn't let me go and get my research because I had already shuffled and put my deck down, which makes sense. I kind of understand why he didn't let me go back in. It was my fault for not grabbing the cards that I wanted to grab. But yeah, just was not fun after that, and I ended up losing the first game because I was just top decking and I didn't draw anything good for a few turns. So he was able to pop off, and then he eventually won that game. And then round 2, I went first, and I was able to set up. I got the Arceus turn 1 double turbo, so that was all fine. And I believe I got the Arceus V-Star turn 2, but on his turn 1 going second, he was also able to pop off. He was not, he didn't brick as bad as he did in the first game. He was able to get double Buddy Poffin turn 1, got 3 Charmanders turn 1, and then also by second turn he was able to get Charizards and stuff. So yeah, he was able to set up pretty good, and he ended up taking game 2 as well. It was pretty close. The second game was definitely a lot more fun, especially because I didn't mess up with my Starbirth. Although actually I kind of did too, because I meant when it was my turn to do the Starbirth, I meant to attack with my Iron Leaves the next turn, but I grabbed the Luminous Energy because I need that, and sometimes it's hard to get that, so I just grabbed that off the Starbirth and attached it. And I believe I also grabbed a Research so that I could, because with Starbirth I always like to grab Draw Supporter so that I'm not bricking and I'm able to actually play the game. But I had an Ultra Ball in hand, so my plan was to attach the Luminous Energy, and I was going to attack with my Arceus V-Star that turn so I could grab the Grass Energy, Ultra Ball in hand to get Iron Leaves next turn. But when I attacked with Arceus, I realized my green energy was prized, and I didn't check that when I was Starbirthing. I just assumed it was in the deck, and so yeah, that cost me the game on the second game. But either way, even without attacking with the Iron Leaves, it was still pretty close. By the end, we were at 2 prize cards each. He was just able to get it before me, so yep, unfortunate. Definitely misplayed that round, but I learned. It's early round, so I'm hoping moving forward I can do better. So yeah, we'll see. On to round 3. All right, guys, so round 3 just finished, and I got my revenge against Charizard. It was such a close match, but it was such a good game. I used every single tech that I had against Zard. So let me try and recap what I remember. The first game started pretty good for me. Both games, honestly. I got Arceus Double Turbo turn 1. Then second turn, I'm pretty sure I wasn't able to get the V-Star, but I got a second Arceus down. I was able to switch the Arceus with the Double Turbo into the energy, and I started accelerating energy, which you always want to do. Start accelerating that energy as fast as you can. Then the following turn, she got the Zard out, and she took out, I think, an Armarouge. I don't remember what was in the active, but she hadn't gotten the Pidgeot down. Then the following turn, I was able to get the V-Star, and I hit the Charizard for 200, I believe, because I attacked with the one that I had loaded up. Following turn, I think she took another single prizer. She got Pidgeot out at that point. And I think she got the Radiant Heatran. Hadn't used my V-Star, actually. I saved it for the following turn, and thank God I did, because I saw a crazy play. So she had bench, she had the Zard in the active, the Zard EX, and then she had a Charmeleon in the bench. So what I did was I benched Delphox, put it in the active. I had enough energies now, loaded up the Delphox, and then I Starbirthed for a Maximum Belt. So the Maximum Belt was able to get me the KO on the active Zard, and then I was able also to get the KO on the bench Charmeleon. And after that, she had no Zards to... she had no more Charmanders to bench, so I was pretty good for a few turns at least. I wasn't going to see a Zard, but honestly, props to her, because she was able to stall me out for a few turns. She forgot what she put into the active, and I couldn't retreat. I think it was my Iron Hands, and then she Roxanned me. So that's really bad against Arceus, is what I found out, because I wasn't able to do some stuff for about one turn, I think with just one turn. The following turn, I think I got a Research, and then I was popping off from there. But she stalled me for a few turns, and she was actually able to bring it back. So at the end of the first game, we were both 1 prize card away from winning, and I think I was 2 prizes away, and she was 1 prize away from winning somehow, because she was taking a lot of 1 prizers. Then she knocked out an Arceus. But the final turn, I had all my energies on my bench, including a Luminous and a Grass this time. Ultra Ball for the Iron Leaves, and then I took the knockout on the Big Zard for our game on round 1. So it felt really good to get a knockout with the Iron Leaves, because that was a tech that I added in for the Zard match specifically. And then round 2, I start the Radiant Heatran, and I didn't have anything on my hand, but I did have the Double Turbo, and thankfully my top deck was an Arceus. Bench did Detach Double Turbo passed. On her turn, though, she was able to set up 2 Charmanders, 2 Pidgeots, and a Manaphy this time, because she learned from the first game you definitely want Manaphy against Armarouge. So she was able to set up pretty good, but thankfully my turn 2, again, Arceus V-Star. This time I believe I switched, and I knocked out the active Pidgey, because she did call for family for 2 onto the bench. So I knocked out that Pidgey. She had another Pidgey left. She promoted a Charmander, and I believe she couldn't get anything out that turn, so she ended up, I forgot what she did, but she passed with no evolutions. The following turn I had boss, so I bossed out the Pidgey, knocked out the 2 Pidgeys turn after turn, and at that point my bench was loaded up with energies. I think I attached like most of my energies to my active V-Star, and then I had a lone Arceus V on the bench. I only had those 2 Vs out, so those are the only 2 that I attached energies to. So, and then on her turn, she got the Charizard EX out, and then she just attacked my active Arceus V-Star because she didn't have the Pidgey. There's not much she could do, or the Pidgeot. And then I had 3 Charcadets on the bench, so I evolved one into the Armarouge EX, and all the energy that I had loaded up onto all my Arceus, I had the switch in hand, switched into the Arceus EX, and with all those energies, I was able to knock out the Radiant Zard. And on the following turn, she put out the Charmander. She didn't have anything else to do, and I had I think I had a Nest Ball that I top decked, and I grabbed my Iron Hands, needed 2 prizes left, had a Luminous Energy attached, so I was able to just retreat into the Iron Hands, take knockout on Charmander for 2 prizes, so that felt very good as well. So it was a really fun game. It was honestly something that I wish would have been streamed. That would have been such a good game to stream. Both games were pretty good in my opinion. But yeah, pretty happy right now. I am 2-1 and going into round 4 now. So unfortunate news, round 4 just ended and I lost to another Zard. So many Zards out here, and it truly is 50-50 bets. Like I've lost one, won one, lost one. I bet you if I play Zard next round, I'm gonna beat them possibly. We'll see. But at this point, I'm 2-2, which means I can no longer lose any games if I want to make it into day 2. I could tie 1, so that's fine if I play against like a stall or a bird stall or something, but I usually have a good matchup against them, so I think I'd beat them. But yeah, just can't lose anymore. So wish me luck. I feel like I'm always at this point. I can never be at a point where I'm like 4-0, 4-1 or something like that. But yeah, in terms of the games, the first game I had an opportunity to switch double turbo when I got my Arceus V-Star to knock out their lone Charmander, but I decided to instead get a switch because I needed that to get the Arceus into the active, and a Professor's Research because I only had 2 cards in hand. And with Arceus, as I've said, I always like to get draw support because I don't like to be in top deck mode. And I played the Professor's Research, hoping that I could at least get 1 energy. That was all I needed, either a double turbo or a fire, and I whiffed all the energy, and I was not able to attack that lone Charmander. And so I don't know, I mean, even if I would have gotten the double turbo and knocked out that Charmander, I would have been in top deck mode because that Professor's Research didn't get me much to work with. I would have been in top deck mode for a while, and then they would have been able to set up more Charmanders. So either way, I think the Research was the right play, but honestly, you never know though, because if I would have gotten the double turbo, I would have attacked and I would have shuffled the deck, and they would have changed what the top of the deck was. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe I should have gotten the double turbo switch and just attacked and been in top deck mode for a bit. But unfortunately didn't do that, and I ended up losing that first game because I was I wasn't able to attack for a few turns. And then going into game number 2, I started with Gouging Fire. Couldn't get my Arceus turn 1, couldn't get Armarouge or Charcadet turn 1. And then I ended up attaching to the Gouging Fire pass. Next turn, I think he started with Pidgey. He got the 2 Pidgeys down, 2 Charmanders, that whole shebang. And then he passed, or I think he attached. I can't remember if he attached to Pidgey or not, but I know that he passed. And then it was my turn. I top decked an Arceus, so I benched the Arceus, and then I attached a fire to Gouging Fire because its first attack does 60 damage, so that's enough to knock out the Pidgey. So I go to knock out the Pidgey, and then he proceeds to bringing out the Charmander, and then he pops off. He gets the Charmander EX. He gets a freaking Radiant Band, or what's it called? Defiance Band, and he knocks out my Gouging Fire. So he's winning the prize trade at this point. He ended up going 2-2-2, and yeah, so I kind of bricked in that second game. The first game was fine. It's just that choice with the Starbirth really does depend on the rest of the game. So yeah, just chose wrong, I guess. But anyways, I guess that's gonna do it. I think the next round is gonna be starting soon. I'm hoping that I can win some more games. So wish me luck. All right, guys, just finished. What is this, round 5? Yes, round 5. And I hit something other than Zard. I hit a Lost Giratina, and Delphox did some work in this game. The first game, my opponent bricked. He started Manaphy Pass for 2 turns, and that allowed me to pretty much donk him with Arceus. So that one was a quick game. The second game, I ended up breaking, and he was able to beat me within like 4 or 5 turns. And then the last game was the interesting one. The whole game, I was kind of behind. I was so convinced that I was gonna lose that game. And then at the end, like he whiffed 1 turn. He didn't get a Giratina V-Star after I knocked out his first Giratina V-Star. And so I ended up using Delphox, and I knocked out the Giratina, and then I put 100 on one of the benched Giratina Vs. So I knocked out his Giratina V-Star. That gave me 2 prizes. And then on my next turn, that's when he whiffed the Giratina V-Star to knock out my Delphox. I had boss in hand, and I still had enough energy on the Delphox. Mind you, I was not able to get Armarouge in this last game, so it was all through acceleration from Arceus V-Star. But anyways, I was able to boss up his Iron Leaves because he did start that, and that's what helped me win the game. So I was able to do knock out the Iron Leaves due to weakness, and then put 120 on the bench Giratina V that I had put 100 the previous turn, because I had a double turbo, so it was doing 100 less, but it was enough. The math was just perfect for me to get 4 prizes that last turn, and that's what won me the game. If he had not started the Iron Leaves, I would have lost that game, because there was no way I was going to be able to win that either way. So yeah, that was a interesting match. Glad that I took it. It was very close. So I just need to make sure I stop breaking for these next couple of games. But yep. Next round, round 6. Let's see what I end up playing now. Well, that was the end of round 6, and I ended up losing against a matchup that I generally have a good matchup against, which is the Iron Hands Future Box deck. And I was so disappointed because I pretty much, the first game, I had the God Hand. I had everything I needed to pretty much guarantee the win in that matchup. I had the Arceus, the Double Turbo. I even had Maximum Belt in hand, and I believe Boss. Like, I literally had everything I needed, and I had the V-Star for the following turn. So I benched the Arceus V, attached Double Turbo. I think I also had the Charcadet, so I benched that. Then he proceeded to his turn. He was going second. He Prime Catchered my Charcadet, left my Arceus V on the bench. He set up everything. He pretty much had Techno Radar, set up all his Iron Crowns and his 1 Iron Hands. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and boss KO your Iron Hands next turn, because I knew he was going to accelerate to it. Then before he ended his turn, he Iono'd. And that Iono was game ruining for me. It pretty much put everything to the bottom of the deck. I drew into a dead hand, couldn't do anything, and then he just proceeded to knock out my Charcadet. He pinged my Arceus V, didn't have Ultra Ball or anything to evolve into a V-Star, and then the turn after that, he knocked it out for game. So that first game was very unfortunate. The second one, I actually was able, every game actually, we both started the same exact Pokemon. I always started Arceus, and he always started Iron Crown. I think the second game I also started Arceus Double Turbo. And then I also had Buddy Puffin, so I put 2 Charcadets onto the bench. So I was able to set up pretty good. The following turn, I think I Iono'd into the V-Star, and then I was able to do my play where I get Maximum Belt, boss, and that helped me boss the Iron Hands, KO'd it, and then from there, I pretty much had a game, and he just scooped it up by like turn 4 or 5. We went on to the last game. And this time, I was pretty happy with my hand. I had the Arceus, I had Fire Energy, and I think I had 1 Charcadet, yes. And I also had Boss and Maximum Belt. So I was like, okay, all I need is the Arceus V-Star. And then a turn passed, drew, no Arceus V-Star. Turn passed, drew, no Arceus V-Star. And at that point, I think he was like doing damage to my RCSV. He did 100 damage with the Miraidon, and then I retreated it into an Arceus. I was able to get Armarouge EX, so I put that into the active. He wasn't aware that it had the ability that does 80 less damage, so he pinged it thinking he was going to do 100 damage to it. He only ended up doing 20, so that Armarouge EX actually stalled the game for a bit. But regardless, I never drew into the Arceus V-Star. I even had to Iono once I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna Iono, get the Arceus V-Star, and just set up from there. And even when I Iono'd, I didn't get Ultra Ball or Arceus V-Star, so that was very bad. And then pretty much what happened in game 1 repeated itself. He was able to knock out the Arceus Armarouge EX, then he proceeded to knock out my Arceus V, and that was it. I couldn't get the Arceus V-Star. So yeah, that was a summary of game number 6. I'm gonna continue to play it out to see if I think I might still be able to get points. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to double check, but if I am no longer able to get points, I may end up just dropping and play side events. So I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'll update you guys. All right, so I ended up finding myself at this really cool bar, so I had to take some footage, but unfortunately I couldn't get any points. I did end up playing all my rounds, and I got my Cyndaquil and a Fuecoco, but my record for day 1 was 442, and I also ended up getting some really cool dye, which I love dyes, by the way. I didn't record much yesterday after I pretty much guaranteed that I wasn't going to make it into day 2, but I did end up playing out the event. I ended up going 441. Which is technically the best I think I've done out of the 3 regionals that I've been to. Definitely better than San Antonio. I did pretty bad there. But I ended up like in the 500 tables, which means I should get between around 900 to 1,000th place out of 2,753 people that attended yesterday. So again, right about the middle, means I'm pretty mid at playing Pokemon TCG. But I mean, I feel like it was just my deck, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't performing as good as I was hoping it would. It bricked a few times, but that's fine. I'm here on Sunday now, and we're going to attend the TCG Cup. I'm going to be playing a different deck. This is the deck that I was playing before I jumped onto Armarouge Arceus. But once I started to do good locally with that deck, I ended up just sticking with Armarouge Arceus. But this Raging Bolt was the one that I really wanted to play here initially. So I'm going to play it to the cup, see how I do, and let's see if we can make it into top 8 and get some booster boxes. If we make it into top 8, I believe you get like at least first place gets 2 booster boxes, and then top 8, like if you were to get 8th place, gets a quarter of a booster box, if I'm remembering. Plus you get points, more things for the prize wall. So by the way, yesterday I did end up getting some cool plushies. I'll show them here on the screen. The Cyndaquil right there, it was I had gone at the beginning of the day on Friday, and I saw it there, and I knew that I wanted to get it, but right away on Friday it got sold, or it got like somebody took it from the prize wall. And then I kept going back, and the guy said that he didn't have any more. But yesterday at the end of the day, I went back, and then he just looked at me, pointed at me, he's like, dude, I got you. And he had the Cyndaquil. He ended up finding one, and he was holding it for me, so that was awesome of him, and I was able to get it. Cyndaquil is my favorite starter of every gen, so I had to get it. And then I also got a Fuecoco because he's my favorite gen of the new gen. Like, Sprigatito is cute, I like Sprigatito, but I ended up choosing Fuecoco when I was playing Scarlet just because he's so derpy. I remember when I started the game, like he was so funny looking, like so cute. So I really like Fuecoco, and so I got him. He's really cute. And yesterday throughout the games, after I got him, I just had him there next to me as my sidekick. So I had to get those 2 today. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I stayed with my friends last night, and they're actually going to be going to Universal Studios. I probably should have gone with them, but I came for Pokemon, so I'm going to stay for Pokemon. I'm going to play the cup. And they did ask me to get them some dice, so I'm going to have to play and get them some dice. So that's going to be something that I need to get today. But yep, the cup's about to start. It's 8:30. It starts at 9, so I'm going to head in there. I'm not going to give you guys a summary of every game like I usually do for the regionals. I'm just going to let you guys know how I do at the end of the cup. But yeah, going to go have some fun now. All right, guys, here it is. This is the food that I mentioned was amazing. They had some barbecue and oh my God, this thing hit the spot. It was so good. Wish I had gotten it every single day that I went there, but here was all the points that I got. I was ready to go to the prize wall and spin them. The last day at the prize wall is always super hectic because everybody's trying to spend their points and it's always really hard to decide what you want. But I ended up going with just packs. I got some extra packs as well as the packs that I won from getting 13th place at the cup. So here's everything. Let's go ahead and open them up and see what my pulls are. Unfortunately, not the greatest. My best pulls were the Cypher Maniacs code breaking and this full art iron crown, which, not gonna lie, still happy about the pulls, but they definitely could have been better. At this point, I was just done with the day, so I sat down for a few games, but ultimately decided to leave and just rest before my flight. All right, guys, so it's almost 6 p.m. The event is still going on, but I am exhausted. I was just trying to sit there and watch like the top 8 matches for the regional event, but I was falling asleep. I was tired, so I'm deciding to just go ahead and just rest the rest of the day until my flight leaves at 10. But today was a very successful day. I did attend the cup and I actually got top 16. So I ended up going 6-2 and I lost against Great Tusk Mill, which is a very bad matchup for me because I like to draw through my deck really quickly. I actually played 2 of them today and I beat one being very strategic. Actually, it was more a mistake on his part because he was focusing on preventing me from attack since he started his Mimikyu, which doesn't allow me to attack with Pokemon EX. I thought that I only had Pokemon EX in my deck, but then when I brought out the Slitherwing, he definitely got surprised there. And then by that point, I was able to attack consistently and just knock out his Pokemon and take all 6 prizes. But the second guy that I played, he started Great Tusk. So he just off the bat started off milling me, and that was very bad for me. I almost had a comeback, but at the end I was able to start getting KO after KO. I ended up, I believe, at 3 prizes, and then after that he was just able to mill me, and I ended up going through my whole deck. So yeah, Great Tusk Mill, not a great matchup for Raging Bolt EX. I was fine with that defeat. That was my first defeat, and I was like, you know what, if this is my only loss, I think I'm good. I think I should be able to win the rest of my matchups because I was playing Charizards, destroying them. I played against Iron Hands Turbo deck. I played against Roaring Moon, Ancient Box. I was just destroying all of them, and I felt very good. Then my round, I think it was like around 6 or 7. I was just 1 loss, went to the game, and I ended up breaking against Lugia V-Star. I started a freaking Sandy Shocks and had nothing in my hand that I could do. I had no Greninja. I had some energies I was attaching, but all I had were items, nothing that I could really play. No Nest Ball, no Ultra Ball. It was like energy switches and stuff like that. So I couldn't do anything with my hand. I just attached, passed, and then on his turn, because he went first, his next turn, he was able to pop off. He got the Lugia V-Star. He discarded all of his Archeopses. And from there, he was just able to knock out a lone Sandy Shock. So that was very sad. I was very mad about that loss because otherwise, if I was able to set up, I think I would have been okay because he didn't know that I had the Greninja play. I am able to attack with Greninja in my deck, so I probably would have tried to knock out his Mincinos before they evolved into Chinchinos. I don't know if I would have been able to do it, but I usually I'm able to do it early on if I wanted to. But unfortunately, he just donked me his second turn, so wasn't able to do much. And then after that, I didn't lose any more games, so it was still pretty good. I got top 16, and I ended up getting 9 free packs, which you guys saw in the video. So I got a few pulls, nothing too great. I was hoping that I could get one of the big pulls, but no, I didn't really get much, to be honest. But yeah, other than that, I did a lot of the side events. I got a lot of tickets. I was able to get, today I just got packs, all packs, and again, I wasn't able to pull much. I was hoping that, you know what, if I use this all on packs, I would think that would be the wisest investment because I could pull something big, possibly sell it. And I was just like, yeah, let's go all in on the packs, but I didn't pull much. My best pull was, I believe, the Cypher Maniacs Full Art and I Iron Bolt EX. So yeah, that was it pretty much for the event. After that, I was just watching the top 8 matches, and I'm tired now, so gonna go get some food, probably get some sushi, and then I'm gonna call it a weekend and just go back home and go back to work, unfortunately. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely suggest going to a regional event if you haven't. They're so fun. And I can't wait to go to EUIC next. That's going to be my next... That's going to be the next event that I attend, and probably the last event that I attend for this season. I'm going to try harder and see if I can make it to Worlds for next year. Not this year, where they're going to Honolulu. I'm going to be trying for the following year, the following season. So looking forward to that, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next video.